When I was little, my parents divorced. It was really hard growing up. It just left me super broken. I started on this path of an eating disorder, so I thought by hanging out with friends and doing what they wanted me to do and pleasing them no matter what it took, that was what would help me be accepted. And I got on my knees and I asked God to change me and to show me a new way, to open my eyes to see Him and to change what was happening in my life before I died. It made me realize that I needed to come to Teen Challenge because I needed to make a difference. Since I have come into Teen Challenge, God has restored the relationship with my dad. With my mom, she never attended church before I came in the program, and she goes twice a month now. I want to go work with adolescent girls and show them that how much worth they really do have and how much they are loved by their father and how they are a daughter of the one true King.
Please give this place a chance. Open your heart and your mind to God, to let Him move in you. Let Him have your way with you. And obedience is the way. It's the only way. This place is amazing.
Most of our ladies, they can tell you, they've been through numerous rehabs, prison, psych wards, medications, dual diagnosis. I call them, most of our ladies, I said they weren't bipolar, they came here tripolar. They had 3 different personalities, you know. It's just all those things that God just pulls it all together and heals them.
Acceptance in the outcasts who were partying and drinking and doing drugs, and so that's where I started my addiction. I was always looking for somebody to love me in a way that no person could. My mom was an addict, and my dad was active duty in the Army, and so I was raised by my grandparents. My grandma had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She was the one person that I could depend on to be there for me, and I got so scared, and I was mad at God. I was mad at her even for being sick, as crazy as that sounds. So I moved out with a guy, and we would do Xanax, and we would fight physically and beat each other up to the point that we would pass out and then wake up and do it all over again. And so I tried to get my life right, but I couldn't do it by myself. I tried moving in with family members, and I tried to do it and I couldn't. And then my grandpa passed away, and that was completely unexpected. Finally, something in me just kind of clicked that I had to do something different, that I had to make it better. And whenever I was looking at other centers, I just didn't feel peace about it. There was no hope offered. And then whenever I read about Teen Challenge, it had said that the goal is to get to the root of issues, and I knew that that's what I needed. I knew within me that it wasn't just my drug addiction that I needed help with. I knew that there were things from my birth that I needed to work through. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. My first thought when I came into Teen Challenge, what did I sign up for? Am I really here for a year? Their goal wasn't to try to cover up my problems, and their goal wasn't to try to get me to be normal, but instead they've encouraged me to be who I am and to let God heal my hurts. And that's amazing, because I've never experienced that until coming here. Whenever she passed away, that's when I truly came to the end of myself and allowed God to start doing some kind of work in my life. And He placed people in my life that led me towards a different future, and I thought that there was no hope other than what I had been born into. But my life is different now because I know that my life has a purpose. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
When I first got here, I was just so grateful. I was so grateful to have been given the opportunity to find a place that offered me help when nobody else would. And somebody like me that didn't deserve it, I was the last person in the world that deserved it. I had made that mess for myself, and when I got here, I just felt that peace, and I knew it was real.
My parents were always gone. They worked. I was an only child. I always had the house to myself. I wanted people to like me, and I wanted people to approve of me. I thought that I needed drugs. Whenever I was 14, my parents sent me my first rehab because I was running away a lot. I would even run away from the rehabs that they sent me to. So I started seeking harder drugs and pills, acid, stuff like that. I hated myself. I had 5 attempted suicides. My last one, it landed me in a coma for 3 days. Every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't even recognize myself. I didn't use heroin until I was 18, and that was because the guy that I was with, he started selling it because he couldn't get a job because he had felonies. So he hooked up with the Mexican mafia, and we started running it from the border to Oklahoma. 19 in jail for the 3rd time with yet another stack of felonies. I never knew that I was actually addicted to that heroin until I went to jail and didn't have it and started to detox. I desperately cried out to God for a change. Through a radio station, I heard about Teen Challenge. I had been to 9 other rehabs before this one, but it doesn't tell me that I am an alcoholic or I am an addict. It tells me that I am a child of God. I finally began to let myself break for the first time. I began to let Him change me, and I began to let Him have His way. I know that He understands me and that He cares. But now I realize that God allowed me to live because He has called me higher. And there are people out there that I will be able to talk to. And I'll be able to be like, hey, I know what you're feeling. I know what you're thinking because I was there. Teen Challenge taught me that I am free. And that whoever the Son sets free is truly free indeed. And that in itself has changed my life.
God showed me is that I am free in Him, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that He does have a purpose for my life, that there is hope for me, that I am not an addict, but that I am free in Him, and that He has created me to be the godly mother I am supposed to be, and He continues to show me my identity in Him.
Watching the Lord show up for other women while they are in the program has got to be one of my favorite things to experience and to witness, because it increases their faith, it builds their faith, and it builds my faith, because I'm just like, this is so real.
My father was a very bad alcoholic. When it led up to his death, my mom became very abusive towards me, and then my uncle started sexually abusing me. I wound up smoking weed, drinking, popping pills, just doing anything I could to get my mind to shut up because I couldn't focus on anything. I got pregnant. I didn't really know what to do, but I didn't want to live. So I knew at that moment that I needed help or I was going to die. When I came to Teen Challenge, I was the person who had no hope and didn't think I had a future, but this place and the women here showed me that I do have a future. No matter what your past looks like, no matter what you've been through, what you put yourself through, your family, you can get out and you can be new again. I decided to have nothing to do with my mom because I knew that our relationship was toxic. But in December, Miss Love told me that I could actually start writing letters to her, and I expected the worst to hear back from her, but actually she's doing really good and she's been sober. It's just amazing what God has done. Even though God, He didn't suffer like the sexual abuse, He suffered the same thing. Like, He was rejected, He was despised, He was spit on, and He was cursed. And I mean, he still endured everything for us.
When I walked into Teen Challenge, it was like a crazy like peace when I walked in here. Like I said, I was still, you know, having all these thoughts and hearing all this different stuff, but it was like I knew that whatever God was trying to tell me and whatever he was trying to show me, I knew I was going to get from this place. Whenever I was around 10, I started with weed and drinking. 14, I met my kid's dad in high school. 15, I tried meth. I started shooting whenever I was around 20. I wouldn't be able to find a vein in my body to even get high, and I would just poke myself over and over again. I was hearing voices tell me, you know, you should just kill yourself. You're not a good mom. You know, you're not worth anything. You're not worth the skin you're in. And I was intoxicated. I was drunk and pilled out, and I had a brand new pocket knife, and I just cut my arm wide open. Almost died. I woke up and I was in a mental facility. They took my kids and put them with my family. Whenever I got out, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, I have to get help. I have to get my kids back. She said, you should try Teen Challenge. I heard it's a really good place. And I was like, okay, God, I give up. When I walked into Teen Challenge, it was a crazy, like, peace. It was like I knew that God was trying to tell me, and whatever he was trying to show me, I knew I was going to get from this place. I never had a real relationship with God until now. I learned that my joy does not come from other people. It can't come from my children. It can't come from myself. It can't come from a man. My joy comes from God. Jesus didn't die on the cross for me to go and, you know, drink or stick a needle in my arm and suffer. And I'm supposed to carry my cross just like he did and be blessed by the grace of God and have a life and enjoy it. I plan on getting back on my feet. I don't know what God's got for me, but I know that this isn't the end of just my testimony, you know. I know that I'm supposed to help other people like me.
All the other places told me that you are an alcoholic, you are an addict, this is where you'll always be, so you might as well just accept it. Teen Challenge taught me that I am free, and that whoever the sun sets free is truly free indeed.
The state of Oklahoma is third in the nation for suicide. Crossroads of America for sex trafficking. We're number one in the nation for methamphetamine abuse. Number one in the nation for women who are incarcerated.
My life before Freedom House was absolutely destructive. At about 13, I started with methamphetamines, and that just really spiraled me out of control. And I was so mentally tormented by the lifestyle I was living and by all the drugs and by all the dangerous people and the dangerous situations that I needed help. And I either was gonna kill myself or I was gonna get killed.
Well, when Cassandra came to the program, very distraught, hearing a lot of voices.
We are never surprised with what might happen and what might come in the doors of Freedom House.
Most of our ladies, I can tell you, they've been through numerous rehabs, prison, psych wards, medications, dual diagnosis. I call them, most of our ladies, I said they weren't bipolar, they came here tripolar. They had 3 different personalities.
When I presented all my issues to Miss Love, she said, well, if we work on all this today, you're gonna die. But what she did is she said that we will work through one problem at a time.
Tell them you're under the covering here. This is where you work out all your issues so you can get out there and they don't hound you anymore.
They get deliverance from their strongholds. They get, just that peace of knowing that they're getting well, and they don't have to live in that mess they used to live in. It's gone. It doesn't have to be there anymore. So this is where the transitions go on.
They're given the tools after they've dealt with those issues to be able to go back out into society and live productive lives.
It was the love and the care of the staff that was here. I thought I would never be able to be a mom and have the sound mind to take care of them and clothe them and give them food, when they're hungry, because those are things I didn't do.
We had a lady that had Hep C. We have a group that comes in and does the testing here. We prayed, and she no longer has Hep C.
So this is the kind of place Freedom House is. This is the kind of people that surround this house.
The freedom that women get is so real. And nobody can take that from us. Once we have that encounter with God, it is ours for life.
I don't have a job. I don't wake up and say I'm going to work today. I wake up knowing I'm doing what I'm called to do.
It's never been about a job for me coming to work at Teen Challenge. It's always been about being able to be part of a ministry that really works and is doing something about making a difference in lives of people, and Teen Challenge is.
I was sexually abused when I was younger, and that just took me on a path of self-destructive decisions. And when I was about 13, I was into methamphetamines. I started drinking vodka and I started taking prescription pills. I cut myself, I would bleed, I would feel something. I would drop my girls off at their daycare and I would traffic every night. I wanted out. I wanted out of that lifestyle. I needed help. I had to tell this guy, hey, I won't do your dope anymore. I said, well, if I can't have you, nobody can have you. And he just beat me and beat me and beat me. Next thing I know, my car set on fire. And I cried out to God. I said, God, if you will save me, please do whatever you can, because I need out of this life. About 3 months later, I finally made it to Teen Challenge. I was calling Brandy. She was the intake coordinator here. And she said, are you ready for Jesus Christ to save your life?
This isn't just a be sober program. This is a life change. This is a total 180 from what you've ever known in your life, and truth will be spoken and love will be shown, and you can't find that out in the world.